What's that?
Where's that shirt?
Oh, it's a good shirt.
Okay.
We're going.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh,
What
our
shirt
camera's
you got?
over here, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to comment on how it feels like crap over there? Or?
Yeah. It's all slanted.
Yeah.
Well, we bought
Not,
these.
No,
when
not
did we
saying-
buy these
You know
couches?
how old that couch is, right?
When did we buy these?
Gosh, at least, 10, 15 years ago? 15
least?
years ago?
Yeah.
And Daisy's just right in the frame as well.
It's just that I feel like I'm
Yeah.
going to roll downhill into
You're
the
both
middle.
rolling downhill into each other, though.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
you've got this pillow
Oh.
that goes with the upstairs
That
couch.
looks like
Really
it's been-
goes well with the dark gray.
Looks like
doesn't
we've
it?
been, like it's been out in the
Just
sun.
throw it off, bro.
Yeah, but then
we
I
don't
wanna
have a
have a
single
place-
pillow that matches this,
And then I feel like I can't see because
Move the mic down.
bro. Adjust it. You do you. You make it as comfortable as you can. All right.
okay,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, this is episode 50 of the Granted Show, and if you couldn't tell, we're all dressed up a little bit. I actually have. I'm gonna stand up and show you guys. I have the Thornham shirt on right now.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, I didn't realize
Thornham
that.
Crest shirt.
That he made
Yep.
for the family.
Yep. So I only made it for Dad and Granddad. Mom, you want one?
I'm good.
Yep. So she doesn't want it, but I'm actually wearing it backwards so that you can really see the full crest in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, why not? Pink suit,
No,
family
I love
crest
that
shirt.
you did. That's a perfect Christmas gift.
I'm
That was a big gift.
COVID formal.
Yeah, that's
So
That's a
yeah.
nice
Don't you guys don't want to see his feet because he's got the Crocs on. He's got the swamp Crocs.
shirt. Let's see.
as
He's got
Kate
the
calls them, the
swamp Crocs.
toddler shoes.
I used to wear them too, though. So would that make me a toddler as well?
No, 'cause
no
it was
comment.
fashionable. Like basketball players were all wearing
Yeah.
them, so it was fashionable.
I
at the
mean, I think a
time.
lot of athletes wear them.
Do they still?
Yeah, they still do.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of grew out of that phase at this point, which
Yeah.
is
Would
sad
you
to
be
see.
embarrassed to show up at the gym with Crocs right now?
At the gym
Like at Tennessee, if you showed up to play hoops
to play hoops and I came in Crocs.
and you came in Crocs and then switch into your hoop shoes.
I think that's not so bad. But like if I'm walking around in Crocs the way I used to, dude, like it would snow at school and I would wear Crocs. You know,
Oh,
that was
that's
my
not good.
Crocs
not-
is a
but-
Colorado brand.
Oh, it
I
is?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, it's just in your blood.
Just the more
There's
you
nothing
know.
you could do.
I think Birkenstocks are equally ugly.
Really?
Definitely.
No shot, bro.
Yeah, they're both.
Birkenstocks
they're
are not
both,
that bad.
They're both
Well,
bad. They're both
and this is,
equally poor.
I agree, and this is coming from somebody that wore Tevas in college, and I knew when I bought them that they were nasty, but it was the style, and I was
Bro.
ashamed.
See-
Birkenstocks are like that's a sandal. It's a
my
California
first,
California vibe sandal.
there was my first experience with Birkenstocks was our neighbor across the street. Her name was Sylvia, and she was like 4'2". She was a micro human, and she had these tiny little feet, and she had Birkenstocks. So that was the first, and that was probably 45 years ago.
And you didn't get a good impression off of Sylvia or whatever.
No, she was very nice. She was very nice, but
Yeah.
that's who was wearing them was a little.
All right. So
foot.
then
They're,
like,
they're not like looking at a Lamborghini, let's be clear.
bro. All right. What do you want me to wear? Right.
I'm
No,
not,
you follow the trend.
What you voice your opinions, right?
I'm
And-
just saying, like, sometimes trends are trends, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you just go with it. I understand that. Sometimes, like, it's just obvious it looks good, like your pink suit.
Okay. What do you think would be a better look to wear to the gym? What would you prefer?
Dude, you don't want
What would you wear?
a 50-year-old man going to the gym.
What would you wear to switch into your basketball shoes? What would you wear? We just said those are ugly, though.
Yeah, they are.
But
But
that's
that's
what
what I
you
would
could
wear
do.
because they're comfortable.
So what would you wear?
Well, I would just wear the same shoes in.
Do you like closed-toed shoes? Like you're really not a fan of the.
Oh,
How
show
do
what
you
you're
feel-
wearing, though, because this is its own thing.
Right. I could wear those. I
Oh,
could wear
these are
those to the
Temu,
gym.
though, right?
Yeah, they're Temu.
People
So
do
bad.
people do wear those to the gym. Yeah.
I just like
You're
them.
gonna come
cozy,
on here
though,
for the
right?
50th episode, and you're gonna wear Temu. You're
Well,
gonna really support child labor on the 50th episode.
Oh, like these
I'll
aren't
kick 'em
child
off.
labor?
Your
At least
suit
they
is
claim not to be,
all of our stuff is child labor, probably.
Just some are 6 months old and some are
and some are $6
some are
versus 50.
13 years old.
But that's just the markup. Like
What?
that.
Yeah,
I
those
think we somehow
probably. I
convince
wonder
ourselves.
which one costs less to make. Probably the.
Crocs. You just put
No,
this in a
yeah, I was gonna
plastic
say
machine.
the Crocs probably cost less to make.
Yeah.
But Wow, we really just started the 50th episode talking about that. That's fine though. That's fine.
That's okay.
I think the other part about dressing up is this is a celebration. This all of this gear, right? All of this gear would not be possible without you guys, and I'm very thankful for
And
that.
Santa.
And Santa,
Yeah.
yeah, we could talk about that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, like without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Not only like this setup, but like this house, this basement, this place. And a lot of times I do like to think of the podcast as a gift. It is a privilege to be able to do this because the setup works perfectly. Like we have enough space to do that, and a lot of people don't. So, no better guest to bring on for the 50th episode than my parents. You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, and you can say whatever you feel is important.
I'm Dad.
Okay, that's good.
And I remember when you told us that you were going to start podcasting,
Yeah.
and I didn't really know what to think of it, but I always knew that like when you said you were going to try to do something, you were going to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see what he does.
Were you? When did I tell you? Because initially
Sophomore year?
it was sophomore.
Probably.
It was sophomore year, but it was initially like the journey's been crazy because initially I started with I think probably told you the very first episode actually because I needed to use that
The snowball mic?
the snowball mic to talk
Which is
about
a
fantasy
bad mic.
football.
It wasn't that
Oh
bad.
God, I forgot about that.
Bro, I talked about fantasy football for my first episode for 13 minutes and put that on there.
Gotta
That's
start
all right.
somewhere.
I
That was
know.
your-
It's
that was
just
your
no.
world
It's actually
back
incredible
then.
because now we're using the software that's like split screen. We have every time I come down here, it's like this is really a studio at this point.
We just need a better couch in your studio.
Yeah, I'm glad.
It's okay.
And I, you know what? I really brought you down here to say that.
Probably just so you can put me on this couch so I could notice it.
I
Because
put
that
you
couch
on-
doesn't do that.
No, they both do it. I've had enough people over, and we were sitting here. I've done that enough times to know that at some point that cushion just. So. Yeah.
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 But all right, let's get into the first topic, which is, the topic that everyone's probably dying to know about, which is your college experiences. So the first thing is let's hear one of your best stories from college, one of the dumbest ones, one of the funniest ones, something that stands out to you because I'm in your spot right now that you used to be in. So let's think about that for a second. And let me pull up the other stuff that we got to get to today.
I think you got to start somehow.
I do?
Most of mine
An
feel
England?
really uncomfortably
Or
around
like
alcohol.
An RA story.
Oh, you've got a lot
An
of
RA
good
story?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. My favorite RA story was probably so I was an RA because I knew it would save me money and I got free room and board. And I got my own room and that was awesome. And so you would have the way it worked where I was at Colorado State, one of the best institutions in America.
Oh, not anymore, bro. No, no,
Always, has always been, is so I remember, I think it was Halloween night, because she went to CSU too, and I was really bummed out because I had to work Halloween night, which would have sucked as it is. Mm-hmm. But it was CSU's first time on national television
Oh,
playing football.
no. Okay. And you're working.
And I'm working, so I can't go to the game. And I really want to go to the game, but I also knew it would be a total shit show after the game on Halloween.
Yeah.
Because CSU didn't even have lights at the stadium at the time, so they had to like bring ESPN brought in trucks with lights on them, right? And
That's hilarious.
so that was already going to be bad. And my partner and I had to like go through the hall. So you'd always do a male and a female partner going down the hall, and you would, if something was up, you'd have to knock on a door.
For sure.
So we're trying to like just not draw. Like I really don't want to mess with any of this. Like unless somebody's being out of control, I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, some dude like runs up the stairs with, you would know what a party ball
oh,
is.
yeah.
It was like a micro keg. It was this like
It was like a
bigger than a
ball.
basketball with a
Yeah.
flat bottom, and it was full of beer. And dude's coming up there with a party ball, and it has its own little pump and whatever. And he's like running down the hall, and he like screaming, and he runs into a room and slams the door, and then it's like totally noisy, and all these other residents come out, and they're mad at this guy because it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was like, don't make me come in. Like, I don't want to come in, so don't make me come in, because
Yeah.
once we do that, then I'm going to write you up.
Yeah.
So I knock on the door, and he's hammered, and I'm like, dude, you can't have a party ball in here. You're underage. And his whole thing was like, at the time, it was like the Clarence Thomas was being put into the Supreme Court, and he had some issues with women. And this guy was like, this is just like Clarence Thomas. And I had no idea what he meant. He just kept saying, it's just like Clarence Thomas. And I had to write him up.
That's hilarious. And then what happened to him after that?
I had to write him up, and he got a ticket and whatever. I forget even how that worked, but he was furious with me.
But a ticket, does that get you expelled from the?
No, I think if you got like 3 of those, then it was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably the same as where you are.
I like that. I like that. That's a good story. A party ball.
I get mine has to do with Halloween too.
Oh wow. Yeah. Just a crazy time.
Yeah. And I'm Christine, by the way. I didn't introduce myself.
Yeah. Go ahead and anything you want to.
Mom, Christine. It was my junior year, and I was living with Christy and Michelle and Holly and Ron. So it was 4 of us
Shout
and
out Ron.
And Ron was from New England, as was Michelle, and they knew each other. And Ron, I feel bad. Can I say things? He's not going to watch this.
You can say his last name.
Just say
He
an
wasn't
alias.
the smartest knife in the drawer.
The smartest knife in the drawer.
It's supposed to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. He was not the smartest knife in the drawer. So, anyway, we decided we wanted to have a party. Super excited about Halloween. Everyone dressed up. We were pretty cheesy in that we'd post flyers in our own house to let everybody, the other
Yeah.
4 roommates, knowing
Yeah.
that we're going to have a party. So we'd make flyers. Really
That's funny.
excited. And then at the time, we were good friends with these other guys that were in a band. So they lived a few streets down. Oh, I went to CSU too, Colorado State University, but I didn't know him at the time because I'm
She felt me.
significantly younger than him.
Yeah.
She
the
felt
presence.
my presence, though.
That's right.
Well, we did have friends that knew each other
Yes.
Yeah.
this whole time, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny. We just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a party, and we have the guys that live. Christy went to high school with a few of them. They were in a band, so they were going to be our Halloween band. Party was fabulous. We had, that was the year I was Monica Seles, and I don't know if you know who that
Let's
was.
pause right there, because that same exact year, I convinced my friend Doug, who was like 5'6", to be Monica Seles for Halloween.
No way.
So that is crazy. Monica Seles was a tennis player that was stabbed during one of her tournaments,
Bro.
which is bizarre, right? To have a fan come out, stab a tennis player in the back
During a match.
during a match. Like, it was crazy. So I decided that should be a good Halloween costume.
So I forget how yours was, because Doug wore like a tennis skirt and a top, and then we made this giant knife and just taped it to his back with blood on
I
it.
did. No, that's what I
No,
did.
that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So we were on the same wavelength
Yeah.
way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was your story?
No.
Okay.
So we have this fantastic Halloween party. There's a band. It's super loud. We keep checking for the cops. We're like, there's no way they're not
Shutting
coming.
this jaunt down.
They're shutting this just because it was so loud. It was on Remington Street. And eventually the police did come, and they were knocking on the door, and they're like, we need to break up your party. And we're like, well, we figured he said, because there's people having sex on your couch outside. That's why the party got broken up. And we didn't know who they were. They just were people that had come to the party.
Oh my god.
So they, for indecent exposure was the
Oh
reason
my
why.
God.
Nothing to do with the party, nothing to do with the music. That it got broken up. But it
You
was,
never found out who that was?
No, we didn't know who they were.
Was there a
None of
party?
us knew who they were.
Is there a party ball?
No party.
No party ball.
We
There
did
was
have
party ball involved for sure, though.
Ron got us a keg, I'm sure. And he had a German Shepherd named Nico.
Was it the same couch that Nico growled at?
Yeah, we brought home a couch that was free on the side of the road because we didn't have any money. So Christy and I saw a couch
That's
that was
good.
free on the side of the road. So we loaded it up in the car, and I think in my Pathfinder probably, and put it in the living room, and the German Shepherd kept growling at the couch. Like super upset. So we figured there's something probably in the couch.
Yeah.
So then we got rid of the couch.
Oh, so you didn't keep the couch?
No, the dog is growling at the couch.
Bro, you should have searched it.
No, I think I probably
You should have
rats
like
or-
called over some of your guy friends to search that thing.
I don't know what happened, but we got rid of the
Oh,
couch
dude,
immediately.
there was something living in there.
Yeah, there was something living in there because
Yeah.
Nico was
Yeah.
not having it.
That's really good. Yeah, Halloween. I was thinking, there was an idea I had for Hess, which was I wanted to do trick-or-treating in the dorm.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh, that
great
would've been
idea.
fun.
And I proposed it to KJ, and then I should have like taken it further, but it would have been like I always felt disconnected from the other floors of Hess to some
Yeah.
extent. So I was like, "Yo, let's do trick or treating." Where like,
You could do it next year
what's that?
at the hub.
Oh, 100%.
But like get it out.
It'd be even more. It'd be even better too because like people, that's an actual living space. You know,
Totally.
the
Oh my gosh, you
what's
have
it
to
called?
do it.
Hess is arguably not even a living space, but it would have been awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like you have all 7 floors. Like there's 1,000 kids in that building, and you're going door to door. Like
But you'd be doing
Dude.
trick or treat shooters probably.
Yeah, you get
Hell
the
yeah.
little tiny bottles
Yeah.
and pass those out.
yeah, juice boxes, of course.
Well, that used to be fun when we would do Halloween in this neighborhood when you guys were little. Is Halloween was such a big deal here
Yeah,
because there were so
it really
many
was,
kids.
yeah.
So oftentimes you'd come across a house that an adult would hand you a cocktail, a roadie for your trick or treating.
awesome.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Ah, you gotta love those houses.
They were good. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this idea. You've got to do
Yeah,
it at the
I
hub.
definitely. I like that you said the hub because I wouldn't have thought to bring it back. But yes, like imagine that 7 floors. Most people don't know each other, especially like because the girls and guys are separate. Like that's a
Yeah.
great way to meet girls too. Is going door to door trick or treating.
Or just any day of the week, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can just
I
trick or
wonder if
treat
the
in
hub
May.
would though
Trick or
would
treat.
I wonder if they'd shut it down though. Like it's now in a massive
if they don't
building
know.
party.
I think I would. I think
would
they.
know.
I just don't think it'd be so hard to execute.
No, it wouldn't.
No, you
it wouldn't.
just come knock on the door and that's it.
Put a flyer. You put a flyer
Well, yeah, you'd have
Under
to put
people's
flyers,
doors.
under people.
Yeah,
if
you put
can.
flyers up to let them know that it's happening, obviously,
Yes.
so they have something to give you. Or you could meet people in the hallways doing it. I don't know. It's a lot of logistics.
Talk
but,
about it with your roommates. They'll have a plan.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what's crazy, too, is as we're recording this, they are together.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of sad. But it's all right. I'll see them in a little bit.
I'm
See
sorry.
them in a little bit. And you know what? All of this has to come with me, which is going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Well, we might ship it to you or something.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to bring as much this time around, though. I don't need as much.
Don't you have a podcast room?
We should have a studio
Yeah,
in the
that's so-
hub. Yeah, if that's real, oh my god,
After
it's
you
gonna be
cold
money.
plunge.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
It's going from the absolute slums of Hess to the riches, rags to
yeah,
riches,
but it's
man.
you had riches in the slums, though.
Oh yeah, in a different sense, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about living conditions.
It's a good example, though. You were in the worst conditions and met the best people.
Absolutely, and that's what I was told from the start too. Is that was the case? It's
I
the
wonder-
most social.
I wonder
most
how, like,
social
what
dorm.
the, how do you use that in life in general, right? That
The shittiest places
kind
make for the
of,
best
but not always,
experiences.
because that's not always true. Sometimes really great places like Rome, our little
Definitely.
neighborhood
Yeah.
was fabulous and just kept being more
Yeah.
fabulous.
But
Yeah.
we weren't sure if it was fabulous when we got there.
But compared to the other neighborhood that was not very nice
True.
and it was not that great.
True.
It's okay.
That is a good segue. I do have to tell you one story though. Like the CSU game reminds me of the Alabama game, which was probably one of the best days of my entire life. But like rushing the field at Bama and
Against Bama.
not at Bama, but like playing against Bama that day. And I had watched it on TV. I've watched schools rush the field. I've watched it on SportsCenter countless times. Like that was a dream for me. I wanted to be a part of that so bad. Now you're a part of it. Not only a part of it, but like one of the biggest rivalries of the current day. And then you come back, and in Hess, ceiling tiles are a big deal.
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
know about the ceiling tiles,
Yes.
right? They're like little school ceiling tiles, like in your middle school or elementary school. And people had already been punching those out when we won games. But Alabama, bro, rushing the field, like this is the biggest game of the year for us. Some of those floors, I
feel
showed you the
sorry
videos.
yeah.
I just
Maintenance man.
almost
Yeah.
every tile was down
How do you even
on
replace
those floors.
that?
They just have backup tiles. Like you
Yeah.
just bring in the tiles
What a
and put them
weird
back.
thing to do. That didn't
What,
happen on
hit
the
the
girls'
ceiling
side.
tiles down?
Like that doesn't happen on
No,
the
it
girls'
does not.
side.
It does not.
Party ball.
But oh yeah, that night you knew something was going down. It's those types of nights where it's a big win.
Well,
You know it's chaos
Hey.
around campus.
So we know because CSU back in the day
were good.
was ranked like 15th or something. And I think we tore down the goalpost.
I was there.
Yeah.
3 home games in a row.
No way, dude.
For no particular reason at the end, to the point where they stopped painting them. So they were just like silver. They're just like brushed aluminum. And they put them on a hinge so they could just take them down right away.
It was fun.
It was
Football
really
was fun
Dang.
back then. They were good.
They
Sonny
were
You
and
guys
good.
really had it nice then, huh?
Yeah.
'Cause they don't
Our
even-
basketball team was good. They weren't bad.
better now.
Yeah.
See, that's why like when you do say it's the best institution, you guys had it back then.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It was super fun.
Well, and we had it for kind of the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a big deal. So like that Halloween night, remember back then there weren't 55 different sports channels.
Yeah.
Like that was the only game
Mm-hmm.
on ESPN.
Right, right.
With these fake lights, so it was a big deal.
That's true.
Do you guys want to leeway into Italy? Trip we just took?
Sure.
That was so great.
Yeah, so we just got back, them two and Kate. We just got back from Italy a little over a week ago, a week
10th.
and 3 days.
Yep. 10 days ago.
Yeah, Mom, I mean, you guys made that happen. So talk about your favorite parts and how you made it happen and the planning that went into it and everything.
Well, we were supposed to go during COVID
We were.
With
what he's
Grandma.
wearing.
with what he's wearing.
He's wearing the COVID suit. So we were supposed to go when you were
COVID
wearing
formal.
that sort
with
of
Grandma,
stuff.
and it was going to be a
That's
really
right.
fun trip. And instead, my mom being 83, we figured, you just all you're doing is Europe is walking and eating,
Yeah,
and walking pretty far and uphill.
yeah.
So it was 3 years in the making, I would say. After we did Barcelona and London, I just knew I wanted to take you to Italy, especially after your dad and I went on our fabulous Tuscany trip. After that, I wanted to move there.
Yeah.
Right.
I would talk about it nonstop, and now Kate's on board with me.
With moving?
She sees the
Bro,
magic.
what is her plan? Like, she's not going anywhere until
She's not.
She's
5
just-
years
She's
from
not.
now.
It's
I
just
know,
a,
but do you feel the same way? Like she's mourning being there.
She was head over heels over that place.
But like
bro.
right now she's really sad.
over Rome,
Like
specifically.
just Italy
No.
in general, I think. Because Vernazza was her favorite place.
Vernazza was her favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, yeah, of course I miss being there, but our life is here. Like, my people are here, and I really miss being around certain friends for
Yes.
even a week. Like, if I don't see certain people for a week, I start to miss it. And, like, I don't have this here. Or I don't have this in Italy. I can't be what I want to be in Italy. You'd have to build from the ground up, and if you did that, then I would
Totally.
miss being there. But,
Yep.
like,
well,
That makes total
I'm in a-
sense.
it's a vacation for a reason.
We're in a
like, to
different-
enjoy it while you're there.
One, it was that we got to be together as a family, being curious together, doing fun things together. And so when I tell people about the trip, I'm like, it truly was seamless. Like, I feel so lucky
I feel, yeah,
to be with a family that doesn't fight. Like, not like our conflicts. I'm not saying don't have conflict, but we had fun together.
Yeah.
And your ages were right.
Yeah.
Like we got to like you kind of know the age is right when you're like, oh, at 15 you're not. Most kids aren't going to be like, let's go into that church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But then you're like, let's go in that church.
yeah.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't our idea. You guys want to go in there.
You'd
I'm
go
like,
in and
oh my
sit
God, let's
down.
go do that. And you want to sit there for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely a different type of feeling from that first Europe trip. And I've told this to multiple people, but for the audience that's listening, watching, so we took a trip. We were blessed enough to take a trip to London and Barcelona as my sophomore year of high school. And when we were there, we were on day 10 or so, and I told them, I was like, I want to go home. Like, I really miss home. I want to go home. And we cut that trip short for me to go home. Like,
Well, let's be clear.
Kinda.
It wasn't just you.
yeah, that's true. But
So I don't want you to have to own that.
yeah, and
I think we were all kind of in that space a
Well,
little bit.
don't forget we got stuck in London, so getting home with the Jubilee,
Because we were supposed to go back to London and then fly home.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that trip just as a sophomore, I remember I had just gotten into this new friend group at Northfield and I was feeling pretty good. I was really excited to, have the summer with those friends. And it was at the very beginning of summer that we go. And, I was just missing home a lot. And I wasn't taking it in enough. Like, I obviously remember bits and pieces from that trip. But, looking back, I wasn't in the moment. I wasn't in those moments. I was glued to my phone trying to text the guys, oh, what's happening? Like, wish I was there. No, you're in London and Barcelona, two places that people very rarely get to visit. And I didn't realize that. And so, like, this time around, we've known about this Italy trip for what, a year? Like, pretty long time.
Yeah.
That it was planned ahead.
Like yes.
We've known about it for a long time. So,
Sorry.
but don't block your face either.
Okay.
So, I knew for a while, like, yeah, I'm going to Italy over this summer, and I have the opportunity to take it in a lot more than I did the last time we were in Europe. So, yeah, going into every church and just sitting there in that moment and just looking at it and being grateful for that moment, like, that was important to me.
So, can I ask you a question then, kind of on that level?
Yeah.
And it might be hard for you to even articulate it, but how much of that is just being older, and how much of that is a contrast and a reflection on your last trip?
It's both.
Yeah.
Because I think being older gave me the ability to reflect on that trip. And you know what? I think some people might not reflect on it and see the same things if they were in my position. But, I think I've made more pushes to, like, especially right after reading that book at the end of the semester, Tuesdays with Maury. It's one of the best books it's the best book I've ever read. It's just a beautiful story, and I recommend any person on this planet to read that book. Just like, it covers the guy, I already told you the basis, but it covers this professor, he's dying at an age of 60 or so from this pretty rare disease. And one of his students that he had back when he was teaching him, they drifted apart as he was, as they went separate paths, as, like, I'm going to drift apart from my college professors probably. But then the kid comes to find out, okay, my favorite teacher is dying, like, right before my eyes. And so they would fly down. They would book a flight every Tuesday to go talk with that professor. And that professor, Maury was his name, one of the most positive, optimistic human beings that you'll ever hear of in writing. And he would take each Tuesday to teach his student a lesson about life. And so each of these life lessons combined kind of played a role into why I was so present in Italy. Because you start to become more grateful for the trip once you realize what it means. No, most people don't get to go. So that's one thing. And then the fact that, like, it goes back to the professor having health issues at 60. Like, you really just never know when life can turn for the worst. And that sucks to say, but
Yeah.
you have to take in every moment. And part of that book was just living in that present moment. And shout out Jared McCain. He's huge on that as well. He has like three sayings. It was like, stay humble, I forget what the second one was, but just stay present in the moment. That's coming from someone that's an NBA player, someone that's at the top of the chain, someone who's a celebrity, telling you to stay in the moment, to live in that moment instead of living what could be going on back home, living in the future. So I just think it was a combination of everything, and it played out beautifully.
No, it was pretty ideal in the sense that, yeah, just like, I think it's also an understanding from us that you don't know how many of those you get, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I'm not saying that there won't be more and that you don't attempt to plan more, but you can't assume that there's a bunch of those coming.
Or even that will look different. Like,
Yeah.
as, family trips may start looking different as you and Kate start dating other people, right? Like,
Maybe bringing them
it's
along or
bringing them
something.
along
Yeah.
or...
Well,
Yeah,
and which doesn't mean that they're worse or better, but it's just different. And then it's sort of to your point, like, it's the gift of that exact moment,
Yes.
right? It's like that. Who's that guy on PBS that did the
Campbell?
Yeah, Joseph Campbell always talked about like heaven and infinity is right now, right here, right?
Yeah.
And like at that trip, I thought about that. I'm like, it kind of is. Like if you're present enough, you get it those moments every once in a while.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to share. If yours is Tuesdays with Maury, what's like your spiritual? Yours was the Campbell series.
I just remember watching that actually at your age. This and they still show it. Joseph Campbell was this guy that talked about spiritual traditions from all over the world for thousands of years, but then he would show how they're all connected. Like they have similar stories, but then he would always, without it just being like this lesson, he would become spiritual and be like, it's now. This is the moment,
Yeah.
right? And that stuck with me. So I'm glad.
What is it for
yours?
you?
4 Agreements, hands down. The book.
What's that?
It's a book. It's fabulous. You know how like upstairs in my office, there's those metal plaques.
Yeah. Came from that.
Always do your best. Yeah, like there's 4 of them.
Don't assume.
Don't make assumptions.
assumptions.
Always. I know I'm messing them up, but that book is by far.
The word is.
Oh, yeah. Be impeccable with your word.
You know,
You
I'll
are
read that.
impeccable with your words, by the way.
What?
They,
I think you're impeccable with your words. You're
Well,
very, very careful with your language.
Let's start with what impeccable means.
it means
Carefully chosen.
it also means that I feel like every time we speak is an incantation. Means like it's a spell, it's a ritual, it's a word. So like if you're like, God, I look terrible, like then you're that's what your body
feel
that's
terrible.
what your body hears. We look terrible? Oh, that's too bad. I guess we look terrible. Like you're reaffirming yes positive or reaffirming negative.
Yeah.
So be impeccable with your words means you choose be mindful because your body and your soul is listening.
I like that.
basically.
And that goes along with confidence too.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like saying those things out loud makes you more confident.
Definitely.
And I would-
And yeah, it's positive self-talk. That's a real thing.
And I think language is clumsy, right? Like oftentimes we write to each other that you don't have the words to really express what it really can feel like, but we still try. Like you try to piece together words that convey how you feel about something.
Yeah.
That's the impeccable. I like that.
I do need to touch on something you said though. So from my perspective, obviously when you're in Italy with, you know, our family, which like you're in Italy with the family that you've built, you know, the sun's setting and you're having a great meal and everything's going perfect. Yeah, of course you can claim there that moment is what'd you say? Infinitely.
It's like infinity, and like he would say that heaven is in that moment.
Yeah.
Like you're not
Heaven.
waiting for something that's over there. It's right here.
Yeah. But Dad, that's not a moment that you get every once in a while. That is right now.
True.
To have
it's
my
true.
two parents together who are both supportive of this journey, to have you in this moment right now, that is heaven.
I
to me.
agree.
Well,
no, you're
and-
right.
and-
You're right.
Every moment that you get to be a part of,
It was like extra heaven, like extra special.
It is
bonus
extra
heaven.
special,
Extra
but,
special
like,
bonus heaven.
And I think
every
because you
moment
get
you should take in that.
you
like,
get
Yes.
to remove
Yeah.
sort of it's just it's sort of broken down. It's distilled a little bit because when you're on vacation, you get to remove all this other responsibility for all of us. Well, minus you. You still had homework, but you don't have dishes you're doing. You don't have like
Work.
you have, even though you have responsibilities, it's like more concentrated in this space, and it's in a brand new environment, so it's sort of neutral ground for everybody to experience something for the first time
Yeah.
as a group. So you don't own it. You're not touring me. I don't own it. It's not a place that I'm showing you for the first time. We're kind of seeing it together, which
Yeah.
I think amplifies it a little bit.
I like that.
It's
I really
true.
like that.
Yep.
That makes sense to me. Okay, well, what were your favorite parts of that trip before we get into the next thing? You know, what made it special for you guys?
So hard.
I know. People keep asking me, it, and I don't feel like I have a great answer.
You don't have an answer?
I don't, because every town had something special.
Okay,
and
list them.
fun.
Why not? Take
Okay,
it.
we went in Venice, got to our apartment, and
Great
that was
location,
amazing.
Great location. I liked the Doge's Castle.
that's
I
it?
liked the gondola
Well-
ride. I liked.
Well, and then we
But that
walked
was-
across the bridge to that restaurant, and even though like the
Food is
meal
weird.
wasn't exactly ideal, but
Dear.
at the same
Well,
time, it's sunset, in Venice, and I think we all were really aware that we're in this amazing place,
Yeah.
in this setting, together.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd had wine with all of us
Yeah.
together.
That was a special moment.
And
for
it kind
sure.
of, that did something for me also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's break it down. Like, what about Venice makes it special to you?
The gondola ride, the Doge's Castle was cool. The square, and even though it's like a Disneyland where it's all tourists, I didn't care. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
I
And
didn't
maybe-
either. And I thought I would.
I thought I would care. I think it's way, way worse compared to when, like, I think as the summer goes on.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even say that because it was bad.
Yeah.
It was shoulder
bad.
to shoulder
was
people
bad.
multiple times, and I didn't care.
I didn't care, and that's rare. Normally
So I
care.
thought, I've said this before, is when we went to Florence, and I was frustrated with Florence because it was that. It was like shoulder to shoulder people, and you're like, oh, I wish I could get in the fast pass lane. We don't have a ticket to go in the Duomo. And like everything felt so touristy that you didn't feel like you were, it
Experiencing
felt
that
like a
place,
fake
actually.
setting in a way.
Sure.
And maybe because I knew that's what we were going to get. But I was also thinking about what makes a place charming. Like Venice, you can't deny it's completely charming.
Yeah.
Like you can't deny it, even with a bunch of a-hole tourists around.
Yeah.
It is so charming.
Yeah.
Like all the narrow streets and this beautiful architecture and the nerd in me being fascinated by even how it was built and all that. I don't know. What about you?
Well, first off, move this a little bit back.
Am I peeking it out?
You're not peeking it, but like you're loud enough, you know.
Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna say my part about Venice.
Or about the trip.
Well, we're gonna break it down though.
Okay.
Let's go to Milan. What makes Milan special? What did you like about that?
I like the Duomo, hands down, right? That was really cool to go up
Yeah.
to the top, and specifically the top,
Yeah.
right? Being
That
able
was
to
dope.
be up there was really incredible.
Yep.
And kind of weird because
Yeah.
there was like no rules up there.
Yeah.
You could just seriously just walk
Oh,
on
yeah.
the roof.
Yeah.
But that would never happen in the United States. Like it
Absolutely
was
not.
dangerous. It wasn't super safe.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
Whatever.
What did they have? Like 3,500 statues in that thing?
Yeah,
The
that-
most statues in any church in
That
the
was
world?
crazy. Is it really?
I think that's what they said.
That's insane. Yeah, obviously for that part of the trip, being able to see Alessandro, that was really special.
That was cool for you.
Being able to see one of my old exchange friends from Northfield after a couple years, like being him showing a local, him being from Milan, being able to show me around his town, his city, the way that I did with him was special, and that was something I'm very glad you scheduled in with the trip.
I mean, you've
Well-
talked about it for 2 years.
Yeah, like
Well, and I don't want
Yeah, I
to
just
hurt
missed him.
Milan's
Missed him.
feelings, but there's not a lot besides that particular.
sure,
Although I've said this repeatedly, Milan hands down had the best gelato,
they did.
and my best
Great
meal
food.
was there.
Yeah,
What was your... Oh, that was
It was
when
a
I got the
pizza.
frozen
Yeah,
yeah,
pie.
you
yeah,
had the no, you had the rubbery shrimp.
Where was that?
It was we were on the way to the train
Yeah,
station
yeah.
to go to Vernazza.
yeah.
But Lake Como's food was fabulous, and that
Lake
was like
Como
your
was a beautiful
Aspen of
little.
What was the name of
Italy.
the town at the top?
not Brunata. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Brunati.
I don't remember.
Brunati?
When you took the little
Funicular.
funicular.
Yeah. Lake Como was amazing. I remember you guys wanted to plan that for quite some time.
Well, originally we were
back
going to
in
stay in
freshman year.
Como.
Yeah.
And I remember we were going to rent a car. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah.
I'm really glad
Bro,
we
we
didn't.
would have. Bro, we would have definitely crashed in that car. The
They're
way their
just- The
The
roundabouts
roads
are,
are so narrow
bad.
up there.
Trains was definitely the way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Vernazza,
Vernazza, and just
the
I
small
think
town in Italy, the small coastal town.
it was
Part
like a
of Cinque
beach
Terre,
town.
My favorite part.
which are these 5 fishing villages right on the coast.
I loved the hike. In between that and
The hike was amazing.
Monterosa.
Yep.
It
You
was
picked
super
a-
fun.
Vernazza was the right place to be.
Vernazza was right. We liked our town the best. Although it was fun to then the last day to go in between all. Well, we did
All
4 out
five.
of 5.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't do.
We did C5 though, total.
Well, we saw La Spezia, but I
Oh,
don't
we
think that's
skipped one.
considered.
Yeah,
I don't
we
think it's
skipped one.
considered.
So here's my travel tip for all y'all out there. Use Street View. So when we went to Vernazza, like everywhere we went, I would use Street View on Google Maps to try to understand what I would be looking at. and we went to Vernazza, and the train station, you get off the train and you're literally right in this tiny, charming town. Like, you're just there.
Yeah.
That was wild to me.
Compared to the other ones where you had to walk through.
You might
a
have to
little
walk
bit,
a little bit, but this one, you're 20 steps in and there's gelato, there's a grocery store, there's whatever.
Yeah, it was truly amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of that too, just being in the moment, that was one of my favorite probably one of the best places I've ever been on this planet, if not the best. But part of the
Wow.
reason that's the case is, again, like me being able to go out and meditate those 3 nights. I meditated every night that we were there in that small town. And let me just set the scene for you. Like, you're on this. I was meditating on a rock, so I felt very connected to nature. But like, I'm sitting on this rock, surrounded by this beautiful small town on the coast of Italy, and you're watching the sunset, watching the sun go down right over the mountains. You can see the silhouette of the trees right over the mountain. Like, being able to meditate, to be present in that moment every single night, like, really grounded me in that place and made me realize where I was and how beautiful it is there. And so that was my favorite. Those were some of my favorite moments, were just the meditations alone.
Yeah.
And like watching the sunset just with my own thoughts. And then obviously eating dinner with you guys with the sun, like everything about that place was beautiful. And that was my favorite part of the trip.
I was thinking about travel, like what surprises, like I want to be surprised, and it's harder as I get older to be surprised. What surprised you?
It's just unlike anything I've ever seen.
Like,
the
did you
small
have any
towns,
idea what
dude,
that was going to be when we went? I think
you-
I knew what it was going
You
to be
say
a
a
little
small
bit.
town in Italy, I don't know what that looks like, and on the coast too.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
unbelievable.
Well, and I had never done, even though Rome's sort of on the coast,
You
like
don't see
all
the
of our
water.
stuff had not been.
No, it wasn't.
It's all
on the
been
coast.
inland.
Yeah.
Although
a bunch of
Venice
hill
is
towns.
Venice is not on the other side. Is it
True, but I wouldn't-
Adriatic?
Totally different because it's more than on a coast.
And there's no beach.
It's a series of islands. You're not on a beach, right?
Okay, so now transitioning to Rome, the last leg of the trip.
That neighborhood was fabulous that we picked.
Yeah.
Like
It really was.
so good compared to
And another good example of when the taxi pulled up there.
yes.
Like the weird thing to me about Rome, and probably to you about Rome, is there's graffiti everywhere. And at the same time, it's not pretty graffiti. It's not like somebody
It's a
did.
mural.
It's
There's
not-
no.
It's
No.
not some mural. It's just tagging, like giant tagging everywhere. So you can worry when you pull up in a taxi,
you're right.
like, is this going to be all right?
I had concerns. Like,
Well,
oh shoot.
and even if it was bad, I'm like, it doesn't matter. We're going to get on a bus or a taxi or go somewhere cool, but whatever, we're going to figure it out. And it turned out we were in a fantastic neighborhood, right? So, like, from an American's point of view, not understanding that context is how charming a place you have to be completely coated in graffiti.
Yeah.
oh my
And
gosh.
still I'm charmed every second of the time I'm walking through
Well, I
this.
think it was just that main street because I think when you go down the alleys,
Still graffiti everywhere.
wow, you just get used to it, I guess.
I think
So
you did
what makes Rome special?
a bunch of stuff. Like, on the one hand, for me, it's knowing the history behind it, because I'm a history dork. Knowing, like, that it's layers upon layers of history, but like all the charming little neighborhoods and alleys. And the night that you and I walked around, and there's people watching a movie in the square, and then we walk another couple blocks and there's a band playing, and then you could just wander around. So that's why that last night I just wanted to wander around.
It just was really alive.
It's
Always.
alive.
Like really
That's it.
alive, and I think more charming than New York.
Yeah.
Like,
That 100%.
you know, like
Yeah.
just way more charming than, because you could say New York's alive because it is, but New York can feel sketchy. Like you never felt, at least where we were, did not felt totally safe all the time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. But that is the Italy recap right there.
What about
trip
Rome
we've
for
ever
you?
been on. What made it special?
Like, just, yeah.
The energy. It was overwhelming with people though. It's a lot of people at once to take in. I really enjoyed Rome too, but I liked the small town.
Which is kind of surprising in
Better.
some ways.
Why? Because
because you're such
going
a
to this big school, like people
participator
person.
in life.
You
that
know, I
it
just
sort of
felt I just didn't feel included. Felt I already told you guys this. I felt like it would be really hard to meet people in Rome. I think that language barrier, and I felt like I was just with you guys,
Yeah.
which is very, very important. But I wanted to feel like I was part of the people, and
Yeah.
and who are the people? Most of the people are tourists.
Most
They
of the
don't even live there.
yeah.
So I just don't think I could do it. I don't know if I could do it right now to go live in Rome.
You
But
being 19 and us being 50 is so different, right? Like
yeah, different perspectives
I
for
wanted
sure.
calm, even though it wasn't calm. Like I love so many of the things that Europe does that the United States just doesn't do.
Definitely.
Like the food, the water.
Yeah.
Like just I.
Right.
ca-
To go to a random restaurant and have
Great food.
Great
no matter where
food.
you're at. It's crazy.
yeah.
You don't even need to look that shit up on Google Maps, bro. It's just
kinda
like
don't. That's the
automatic
point.
every time.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's get into another segment here, which is parenting. Obviously, 50th anniversary. I'm here with my parents, so I want to get some insight for maybe the kids, maybe the older folk that are watching this. What has been the hardest part parenting for you? What's the hardest part about that? And can you generalize that or no?
I think that I don't think everybody does this, but I think I worry. I'm trying to work on not worrying.
Okay.
So going to the worst place fast was a habit that I had for a long time.
Yeah.
Where you don't come home at 11. I'm like, oh, he's definitely been in a car accident. There's no doubt. I'm sure he's at the hospital. I'm gonna need to
Wow.
instead
Okay.
of he's probably fine. He's maybe just running a little bit late. So I think not letting your worry about, oh shoot, he didn't I'm not he's it's like with you're a case, something didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So then you feel like, oh,
It's
your
gonna hurt our
future,
future.
it's going to hurt
Yeah.
your future. It's going to hurt your confidence. It's going to hurt you, scar you permanently. So, no, it's this constant projection of
Worry.
worry. It's
Yeah.
just silly.
Yeah.
The projection's a good word for it because I think I can't help but take my teenage experience and then amplify it on your behalf and imagine that you're doing the craziest shit I ever did times 10 and me feeling sometimes that, I don't know, you probably felt the same way, that sometimes you just feel like you're totally lucky to have made it.
Yeah.
That that could have been really bad and that could have been really bad. And, I did have a sister who died in a car accident, so that could happen. Really working not to project that onto you and just allowing you to grow and balancing the acceptance that there's risk, but still having to have conversations about don't be a dum-dum.
Yeah, right. Because it's not like you're just letting me and Kate go free reign on this stuff. Like, you definitely set the standard for, okay, put your seatbelt on, for example. You're not just not going to tell us that. So we're going out and doing stuff with our friends, but we have guidance. It's not like we're free reign, and that I think that's where kids go off and die or get seriously injured or do something really stupid, is when the parents aren't there to guide it. And it's like, oh, you just go do your own thing. Your mom and I are going to stay back here and do whatever we want. I think that's when it's dangerous. So you guys did a really good job of doing that.
I was really proud of myself. So you all went cliff jumping.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Last week, and I didn't know very much about it. And so I'm on a thread with all of, they call it Tyler's moms.
Tyler's moms.
So it's all of your friends' moms.
Yeah.
And one of the moms was asking, has anybody heard about where they are? Do they know where they're going? Do they all these questions
I know
that were
who it
worry?
was, too.
And so that would have been me.
Yeah.
And I think because you've been gone this year and trying to let go of, you know what, we've given you all of the recommendations, right, to do your best to try to stay safe in this life, that I can't think about what you're doing or not doing. I was really proud of myself compared to
That's awesome.
That version was a version of me that
Was in that chat.
Was in that chat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do that anymore. Because then I'm a mess all day, and again, it ruins my nervous system.
Yeah.
Right. But it's hard because you also know that if something were to go wrong, you might beat yourself up for not doing something.
Absolutely.
Because there's no 100% right answer. There have to be boundaries and conversations and all that. And there also has to be allowing you to just
Do your thing.
be out there and, we're all rolling dice every day, and now it's your turn to roll dice, and that can be stressful to,
Yeah.
right?
That's stressful to think about.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
better not to know.
And you know what? You know what? Like, I don't blame you after what I did last year.
Yes.
Oh my! You want to talk about rolling the dice and getting lucky, bro?
Dude, I don't want to hear about it.
I don't want to talk about it either.
You don't want to talk
I
about
don't want
No.
to talk about it because that's the
I
kind
just
of stuff
know it
that,
happened. I know I did it too, and
But that's the kind of stuff that you're like, no, don't. You can't do things for an audience.
No.
Right? Like to try to get your peers' approval. Like that.
Right.
What are you doing it for? So that you can be in a wheelchair? Like what's the
Right.
payoff?
yeah.
I know.
Yay! Oh, look, he's crippled.
Grant
Only-
did go cliff diving and sat in a lawn chair,
And I went off the cliff 30 feet
And-
high and backflopped.
and
I've talked about
it
it.
didn't have to go well.
No.
It
No,
went
I got
okay.
lucky.
We've all had those, and so, but it's just
But that's the point.
No, that is
It's
the
like
point.
it's hypocritical for us to say we didn't do it, but it's not good parenting to just be like, boys will be boys
No,
all the time.
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Like sometimes yes, but sometimes like, dude,
Yeah. But even then, I think before we went cliff jumping this past weekend, you guys didn't say too much about it.
What are
like,
we
you
gonna
know,
say?
but
You're gonna
ne-
go.
You, what?
You're gonna. What's there to say?
Well, I think, I don't know. I expect
I
there
gonna
to
tell
be
you
like,
no?
you better be really careful this time because of the bullshit you pulled last time. Like,
No, I figured
actually,
you learned.
you
I
kind of
knew it.
headed that off at the pass though because you said so.
I knew it. I knew it. I was just expecting you to tell me again.
No, you said it.
What's that?
You said, and I'll be okay. I'm not gonna be jumping from a chair or anything. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to nag you. Like
And
hopefully
then I
you
watched
learn
your
a
little
lesson.
video, and you did pencil dive. Good job.
I did. Yeah, no, I mean that in that situation, that's where I learned on my own, obviously, from experience. Back flopping off a chair 30 feet high, really hurt, could have killed me. Coming back this time, we're going off an even higher cliff. Sorry, Mom. But, obviously, I'm going thinking, okay, let me not risk my life doing this. Like, let me just pencil dive in there. And Frank, that's a different story. He's trained in that craft. So it doesn't mean it's not risky, but
Frank did like roll backflip.
yeah, like a half
nonsense
back.
off of 50 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's been
knows
doing
what he's
it.
doing. I
He
know.
knows what he's doing. But for me to do that would be just absolutely out of the water stupid.
Thank God.
For him to do that is not so stupid anymore because the odds are a little bit lower for him. But yeah, that's a good point. Just the worry. What do you think is the hardest part for you? You mentioned it, right? You said
For parenting?
yeah.
I mean, it's always some version of worry, and then it's also a version of when your kids can make you mad and you want to like keep your shit together. Like you want to be calm and even keeled, but sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
You don't lose your mind very often.
No, but it happens with everybody.
It's
Yeah.
kind of fun when he gets mad
It is fun now. It is
Just
fun
'cause you
now to
do
look
not
back
get
on
mad
when he gets mad.
very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he used to do.
I get mad. I'm better.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So last question about parenting too is we've talked about this as we were growing up. What things have you done as a parent that your parents did not do? What did you switch up that you didn't like that your parents did or they didn't do to become the parents that you are today, which is obviously thoughtful, loving, beautiful parents?
I feel like talking about. I mean, I could have done a better job at talking about hard stuff as often as we can, right? Talking about sex, drugs, rock and roll. Like try to talk about it, whereas that was not talked about. Mm-hmm. And so there was no dialogue, and I don't feel like I had a safe place to really open up. So I think trying to talk about harder stuff, not being afraid of the hard stuff. Like, don't be conflict avoidant.
Absolutely.
Like, I lived in a house that was very, oddly enough, like, conflict avoidant, but passive aggressive on the other. Like, it's not that there was a lot of conflict, but it wasn't not creative conflict. What's it called? Productive conflict. It was
Okay.
not productive. It was just conflict for the sake of
Fighting.
because you didn't know how to deal with your emotions. So it just came out as fighting. Whereas there could be conflict. Let's talk about the hard stuff so that we can get to a mutual place.
I love that.
I, in a similar way, would say a couple of things. There were moments in my upbringing that were very conflict-ridden, and I remember not liking it, feeling out of control, like where you can't avoid conflict, but can you have conflict within a reasonable, like where it's not spiraling out of control, where you're trying to hurt somebody, or you're so defensive that you're screaming, and like limiting that so that you understand somebody else's perspective and make it so they can understand yours. That was something that was important to me, because I remember observing conflicts where it was just screaming and screaming over stuff that it didn't make any sense.
Right.
But I'll add on to that I think when I was a teacher, I learned that you also have to have, it's really important to have consequences too. Like they don't need to be big. It could be sitting on a stair, right?
I have a good one.
But you can't be afraid of your kids being mad at you because you enforced a consequence.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean you're smacking them on the head, but I think when there's not consequences, then it really muddies the waters for you as
Yeah.
a kid about what should and shouldn't be done.
Did you not have consequences as a kid?
I don't think you did.
I think sometimes I did. I think I got more consequences from teasing from my siblings than I did from my parents as like true consequences. Did
And
you?
Did you think that made it difficult to figure out what was right and wrong as a kid?
Yee. No, I remember my mom being concerned that because she was agnostic, like stopped going to church, but she was worried somehow we were going to be morally jacked up because we didn't go to church.
Okay.
I never had like moral issues, but I think
Well, like you go do a line of coke, as Granddad's saying something, and he says no, and then boom, you're hooked on coke.
There was
like,
no Coke.
no,
If there was no Coke then,
I don't know.
It's a new
Now.
era. It's a new era.
I probably could have had some more structure about some stuff.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, you have a story, don't you?
yeah, it's about you.
Yeah.
So you used to play with Evan video games, and you would play in our basement at our 9702 house, our old house.
Evan Roberts?
Evan Roberts.
Yeah.
And I think it was playing football, it was probably Madden maybe.
Yeah.
And you were in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
And you chucked the remote.
Was he there for that?
No, he left.
I was there alone, right?
He left and you were super mad. So
Yeah.
he left. Like
Yeah.
he had beat you. He had to leave. He left. You take the remote and you chuck it and break the window.
Well, I didn't chuck it at the window. You know that, right?
It just
Well, it
bounced.
broke the
I
window.
chucked it at the carpet and it bounced perfectly at the window.
So it breaks the window.
Broke
All of a
the
sudden we
window.
hear the smash and, just deep breath. I'm like, okay, that's all right. He's just going to pay for it. And you're like 7 to 9? I couldn't
Dang,
even
I
tell you.
was
7
really
to
young.
10?
I was a young
I have
crash
no
out.
idea. Maybe
Probably 8.
That's
8?
crazy.
Yeah.
But you had money from like birthdays
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think to fix the window was either like $150 or $300. I can't
200,
remember.
yeah.
200. We made you pay for it.
I know.
And it was effective. I think you needed to see, like, because you know why it was the bigger thing is because you had a temper.
Yeah, I did.
You
I
were
really did.
angry, and it was like you need to see how when you can't deal with this emotion, it's destructive and it's going to cost you. And it was effective.
Do you have a memory of shifting that or consciousness of that shifting?
Of like getting my temper back, I guess.
Yeah, you get really competitive and you hated to lose, so that would set you off big time.
Yeah.
Whether it was like a baseball game or
Yeah.
something with your friends, like you'd be mad.
You got other stories about when I got mad that you remember?
Oh, I remember that like sometimes at a baseball game you'd be mad for like 2 days if something didn't go right. Or Evan was always part of it.
Yeah.
Like Evan would get some in the park home run and you didn't get a hit, and it was always this comparative thing, but it would set you off so bad.
Yeah.
But it was just, you didn't like to lose, even to me. Oh, I remember that. Even when we would play games as a family. You couldn't handle
Low-key,
losing.
That's right.
You could not handle
You'd
losing.
accuse us of cheating, and yeah.
Bro, I don't know. Like, low-key, I could have just been Michael Jordan. Like, maybe I shouldn't have stopped that, you know?
Yeah, well, I think you'll be better for it.
Because he hates to lose as much as anyone else.
Yeah,
he's
and
not
now
a happy 60-year-old
He's got
man.
yellow
That's true.
eyes
That's
because his
true.
liver is failing.
Yeah, but he's the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah, but
He doesn't.
shouldn't he be happy as a 60-year-old then?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. It was really just like at a young age I had
But
that temper.
But my
Very-
question is, like, do you have memory of consciously trying to work on that?
I
or-
remember I had to work on, like, God, I would just talk so much shit to people.
Yeah.
'cause I
And
was
then you didn't
mad.
like it back.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've been able to do a balance of that. Like, talk a
Yeah.
little bit less
Yep.
and take it when it's given.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no place in time where I could say, like, oh, this is where I decided to switch it around. What age do you think I started improving it, though?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year?
Seriously.
Dang, bro.
No, the end of his sophomore year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because of basketball, I'd still
yeah,
get
because
pissed?
basketball, you were still upset.
And in my mind, the way it would show itself is we would always say, like, I'm not mad at you for being mad.
Just don't be mad at y'all.
Don't be mad at us.
Yeah.
And then don't let it, like, roll into 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, give it some time, be pissed, and then come back to us.
Yeah.
And I remember you were really good about just saying, when we were having those conversations, you're
remember
like,
that.
look, man,
I'm freaking
after a game
pissed.
like that, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
So don't ask me about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, that's really actually a good point. We'll just shut up and drive home.
Yeah, even before the temper was lost or before it went away, there were plenty of silent car rides, bro. We've had a lot of car rides where I just did not talk because I was pissed off.
Yeah.
But yeah, sports was a big part of it, man. That shows too, because like my number one strength is a competitor,
Yeah.
Yes.
which is what
And we
it
always
says
knew
up
it.
there,
Like,
you know?
we always knew that was part of your strength.
Yeah. But it can be a weakness. That's what you see.
Exactly.
That's what you
and
see in that.
That's why I loved and hated watching you with doing sports. It
Yeah.
was both, because if things
Went
downhill, then you're like, oh,
You're
it's gonna
suffering
be a
it.
bad car ride. He's going to be upset.
multiple days even. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if it went well,
But if it went well, so
you're
then you
on
feel
the
like,
highest
Is this
peak.
bipolar
So then you
experience?
feel
Yeah,
like
dude.
you're not.
Feels like you won the NBA championship after you win a Little League game or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know, the fact that you bring that up, like, obviously I've improved upon it. I just wish it was different. I
Don't.
wish it was different because I wish it wouldn't have taken me so long. Like,
Dude,
why did I have to
you
have
should
it for
do
so
You're only
that,
long?
but you
19.
can't do that.
And you figured it out
Yeah,
a few
but,
years
like,
ago.
don't you think other kids, obviously, they had their own issues.
They
but
have their
don't
own
you,
path.
Yeah.
Like, as a sophomore, I was
But
still,
you
like,
can't-
losing my
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
but that's
yes.
like
yes.
that. You're saying that's normal, yes,
Yes.
or
I would agree.
I
would
think
agree.
it's just. Listen, the way I always thought of it, and it's easier to say as a 19-year-old where you've mellowed some of this stuff out, but I had faith that it would come around. It didn't mean it wasn't frustrating and annoying and that we didn't need to talk to you about it. Like, I think if we would have just let it go, it might have been something different. But I always had faith that, like, people mature different parts of their lives at different times. So you were going to get there at some point,
yeah,
whether it's your friends were going to make it clear to you that you were being an a-hole or
Yeah.
like something was going to make it clear, and you were reflective enough that I trusted you not to be like a sociopath and just be a victim about it and blame everybody else.
right.
It's okay. It's your path.
Yeah.
It's my path. You got any other little kid stories that you can expose on here?
That was just a big one.
Birthday
You
parties?
did.
Or like how I used to roll cars on Kate's back?
I was going to talk about a thing that sort of illustrates a little bit of who you are
Oh,
was the
can
way
I
you
guess it?
learned to ride a bike.
Oh,
So we would try to take you out on the little bike thing and you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't let us like roll you around on the bike and you wouldn't practice. And then you just went in the garage and shut the door and you taught yourself to ride a bike by yourself in the garage. And then you're like, I'm ready to go. And that's what you did.
dang.
Like, it's interesting.
That's really odd. Yeah, because that's transferable.
So I don't know.
Proud
Why,
of
do
my
you
younger
still do
self for
that?
that. Proud of my younger self for that. That's dope.
Yeah.
It is.
But like, yeah, I have no memory of doing that.
You didn't want our help.
I have a video of you riding the first time.
I'm gonna need to see that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, talk about my love for cars. That's always a good
You
stuff to
think
hear.
you still have cars upstairs? I know
Yeah,
you still have Matchbox.
I still have my Hot
Oh, is that
Wheels.
what you mean? Cars, or
Cars the
well,
movie.
we would
Cars.
watch John Deere videos. It's all about
you would-
John Deere. You roll cars, line them up to the point where I was like, is he autistic? It's very possible. I'm not sure because they'd be all like lined up exactly. You know,
It's
Oh, and
very
then
repetitive because you'd line
and-
them all up.
you would rock.
The same way.
No, but it was like there was in your mind there was a precision to it,
Yeah.
right? So, like it was an issue with Kate a little bit when she got older because she would jack with your precision, and
yeah.
she'd kind of come over and
Yeah.
Yep.
screw your stuff up and set you off a little bit because you'd spend all this time like, and you'd get like at car level and you would
Oh, yeah.
line them up.
Yeah.
But it was totally endearing.
Oh, it was really soothing to you.
And you could tell, like you always
Yeah.
found a way to like
Yeah.
soothe yourself. And I love that.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's like sitting on a rock in Vernaza or that, like I think that's great.
It was meditative. Like I think it was in a way meditative
Yeah.
for you.
Totally.
It was calming. It was structure. It was yeah.
I used to roll cars on Kate's back though,
You
right?
roll cars on Kate's back. You roll cars on Vera.
Vera. Yeah.
Vera
I
would
rolled
let
on.
you.
But then I also love Cars movies.
You love cars.
How many times do we watch
movies.
Cars?
A lot.
1,000.
You know, I was surprised that
Was
we
it
went
really
to,
1,000?
I was surprised that when we went to Disneyland that you weren't more obsessed with the Cars ride. Do
When
you
was
remember
this?
that? We went to Disneyland and they had
The Lightning McQueen race.
yeah. Should we go back?
When was that though?
You and I can go to
Yeah,
Disneyland.
It's probably
Nobody else
like
wants to go.
tweener stage that it wasn't quite hidden.
Okay.
You're probably 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, did I have an obsession with fire trucks?
Yeah. Trucks, skid steer
Just
loaders.
Yeah, you got in an argument with a kid at the park about what a skid steer loader versus a
Like a forklift or something.
something
or,
else, another word for a skid steer loader. And you guys were arguing about it. You're like, no, that's a skid steer loader.
Skid steer loader, like what was it? The street washers.
Street sweepers?
Mighty
Street sweepers,
sweeper.
mighty street sweepers.
And then, yeah, talk about how I used to, the trash man.
Oh,
yeah.
you were so cute. Grandma has this great picture of you. You've got like a fire helmet on, and I think you've got your underwear, your diaper, and a t-shirt on because
No t-shirt.
Oh, no t-shirt.
Just a diaper
Yeah.
and a hat.
Yeah.
Watching the trash truck.
yeah.
But
Run out.
I would watch the trash truck every morning, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, every week.
Every week.
But if it was just circling some other part of the neighborhood, you'd stop
Yeah.
and watch the trash truck.
And then tell them about the little birthday party we had with the fire truck.
Department. Oh, my best friend Christy, one of my best friends, Christy, she married her father-in-law is an attorney, and he won a big case for fire department.
It was for,
For, like a-
oh, it's
Ta-
Jamestown, Colorado, right next to Ballarat.
I don't
Yeah.
know what the case was about, but they needed a new fire truck, so they gifted him, I think, part of
Their
part of
old
his
fire
payment, their
truck.
old fire truck. He still may have it. So he drove it
Yeah.
from his house, and I think he lived in Golden at the time,
Yeah.
and drove it, and that was for your party, is you had a bunch of kids.
We got
I
to
think-
ride it, right?
Yeah, he
He
took
rode
you
around
guys
the
around.
neighborhood.
Yeah. That old house was special, man.
Yeah, but I also felt like I think I more than you wanted a space where you could have kids over.
Yeah.
And I never
didn't
felt
feel
like that
like you
house. But he's right though. You could have just hung out in that deck.
Or the basement.
But the basement was small. We could have made it better.
The basement was small, but not really. You know, and at that
No,
time,
it was small.
it was small.
This room. It's.
This
don't
is
even know
like
if it
the
was the
size.
size of- I don't
Like
know if it
this was
was-
the size of the main room.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Main
now we
room
have
was
I'd say
maybe a
less.
little bit bigger, a little
No.
smaller than this.
Yeah.
But not much.
not much. I mean,
You didn't have that.
What do you
yeah,
mean?
that extra
Like that
room,
extra side
obviously,
over
but,
there wasn't there.
I don't even think it was as big as this.
I
It
do.
wasn't.
You know, I wasn't having people over at that age though, so it didn't matter.
But some people were having them over. I think it was more me that I always grew up in a house that I wanted to have the house where people wanted to come over.
Yeah.
And it was big enough and we had space.
So you didn't feel like you could have people over.
See, I didn't have people over, and I didn't care.
Well, you know what's funny is now we don't have people over now. We have this big house and we hardly ever entertain.
It's okay. Me and Kate take advantage of it.
Yes.
No, you do.
But-
But like growing up, I
Oh.
never had a desire to have. That wasn't the thing for me. We
Yeah.
would go to parks and stuff. Like we weren't at anybody's house.
I
We
don't.
might watch a movie at somebody's house, maybe.
Yeah.
But I wanted this house to be where they could. That
No, I know.
kids could
Which it
come.
is.
Which
it
it
is.
is.
But it could have been that house too.
I don't know.
I think you didn't feel like you could have people over then. If you,
Well, that too. There were weird things with the
It's-
house that I didn't like. That I'm like, we're gonna have to like major. There were. It
Yeah.
was compartmentalized. Like remember the dining room. Like there were walls and it was
Yeah.
not an open
Sort
floor
of.
plan.
Yeah, it was a
No,
great
we
house.
could have made
though.
it work.
Great house though.
Yeah, you
So
have good
many-
memories
Should
from
we not
there.
have-
So
should
many
we not
little
have
memories. Huh? No. Oh, absolutely. We should have moved. Yeah. It was. This is the perfect place for the phase that we're in. You know.
That's that's how it felt.
But dude, I have so many slow mo videos of Nerf hoop trick shots, like throwing the baseball at the phone. You remember that? I used
Oh,
to set
yeah.
the camera up
Oh, yeah.
and just chuck the ball at it, and then we would do slow mo hockey that had mini hockey net in the basement. And we'd little foam balls. Like I have so much stuff from there, from that house. So many
Yeah.
videos, so many memories, like playing Madden, with like Elliot on the. When we moved the Xbox upstairs if someone was sleeping over, or sleeping downstairs with the mattress. We had some great
Hoop
times.
in the alley.
Yeah, just playing basketball in the alley or like hanging out with all the neighbors
Remember
in the alley.
Spark Show?
Oh yes, tell them what Spark shows were.
You tell them what the Spark Show was. You
So
invented it.
basically,
funny.
you know, we had these back in the day. You know, we had the scooters, your classic Razor scooter, except guess what? They had a little attachment on the back
Oh hi.
where when you brake, it would spark. So me and my neighbor Aiden, when it gets dark out, oh, it's our time. It's our time. So we get out our Spark scooters, and like all the adults we thought they were watching, and we would just go down the alley, Spark,
It was more than you
down
and
the
just
alley,
Aiden, though.
Spark.
Yeah, you get a bunch.
It was
of
like
kids.
there were like 5 kids doing Sparks.
Yeah, low key, there was
Spark
a
Show.
crap ton. Yeah, it was just flying around.
Spark Show.
Yeah, Spark Show. I forgot about the Spark Show. Yeah, the alley, that was a special.
It was a perfect place
Perfect.
to be.
For a
That's
little
the
bit.
trade off.
Yeah.
Is like that alley and those people were really special, man.
But now it's not like that anymore.
No,
No.
and the box fort, little car box fort we made at the end.
Oh yeah, you made a bunch of forts.
And
Because Kate made the Denver Club.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
no,
She and Grace started the Denver Club,
what was that?
and they made like little membership cards, and they had like a 6-digit like membership number. Like there's 1 million people in that thing. I have a picture of it somewhere.
They used to make mud pies for the Denver
Yeah,
Club.
I think they did.
Yeah, and they were going to host the Queen. That was part of their deal.
That's so funny, bro.
But yeah, you guys made those box forts.
We slept in those one time, right?
I think you
so.
did.
Yeah,
think
Kate
you
and I
did.
initially,
Yeah.
and then we spread that love to the car box fort, which was like all the neighbors. And I remember we like got the speaker out and played car sounds out of the speaker like we were driving it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I got innovative, bro.
Did you ever sleep on the grass? I think Kate slept on the grass in a tent.
Yeah, we did a tent night
I feel like a
every once in a
couple.
while.
Yeah.
The Christmases were really special there,
Yeah.
for sure.
Those were great.
Just great vibes. And then obviously I remember doing driving school. Driving school. I remember
Driving
like the
school.
online driving piece I was doing at that house.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, from mom's office. 15.
During
Yeah.
COVID?
15. I was doing driving school shit from that office.
Do you remember? I just saw the
Yeah.
pictures of. Remember your 8th grade continuation was during COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had the stupid Zoom.
Yes,
Where it was
bro.
just all recorded and we all dressed up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, and we had sushi.
And we like have a diploma celebration. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got the online Nuggets game spot.
Oh, right.
So I got to
Oh my
watch the
gosh.
Nuggets game when the
During the
bubble was a big
playoffs.
thing during the playoffs. You could buy a ticket. You would be shown online on national TV because you were one of the virtual spots.
But you didn't buy it. We won it or something.
Oh.
Or
Yeah.
we like.
Oh
we-
yeah, you like
Gary
put your
Muir
name
put
in
us
or
on
something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to be a part of that.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, we like when people talk about COVID, like COVID was really tough. We were in a fortunate place where we didn't really suffer. Not
You
like
guys were-
you did for school, but like you lost your job. I shouldn't say that. Like I'm not saying it wasn't.
No, but
stressful, but
as far as like having little kids that should be at school, you guys were at an age where
Yeah.
you could handle being at home.
Yeah.
yeah,
Minus Kate with her little hostage incident, and
yeah.
I forgot about that.
but you were able to do it at home, and neither of you had like crazy ADHD or something where you couldn't handle.
You would
The
just do
Zoom
the
part
work.
of it.
Yeah. So then the rest of it was
we watched a
eating
lot of
out,
movies
was
and-
played games.
Yep, yep.
Like we got to actually just be together.
That's true. You think that grew the bond?
Yeah.
Some, yeah.
Definitely.
We played a lot of, yeah, I
But
do.
I would say I have quite a few friends that had the same experience. It was like we played games, ate out a lot. We'd
Yeah.
order. Remember, you'd order food. 'Cause
Yeah.
You could pick it up.
Oh, I remember
at
on my,
restaurants.
on my birthday, I asked for burgers, and you guys went and got burgers, and they were like way across town by the time you got them.
Yeah.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
all like mushy.
Definitely.
The bun
Yeah.
was all gooey.
It's
Yeah.
probably from that place that shut down.
Carmagia.
No, it was way,
Oh.
Are you sure
way
it
over on
wasn't
Holly
Carmagia?
Street.
Guess what?
What?
I remember when we bought a Clemson hoodie from that office. I bought a Clemson hoodie because we must have been a little bit into college football at that time if I had been buying a Clemson hoodie.
Hi.
We buy a Clemson hoodie. Turns out I almost go there.
I know. That's
and that was
crazy.
at 15 I owned that hoodie.
That's crazy.
Like insane.
Yes, it was insane. Had they not,
And Oregon.
they needed to pull through.
Yeah, they didn't pull
Clemson
through,
kind of let
man.
us down, but that's okay. You weren't. That's
That's
It's all
because
right.
you
I'm
weren't
gonna go
weren't
visit
supposed
there
to be there.
sometime. I'm gonna go visit John down there sometime.
You weren't supposed to go to Clemson.
Wasn't supposed to go to Clemson.
You're supposed to get in to say you got in, and
Definitely,
then
definitely.
say
Even though it was easier than Tennessee.
Clemson was easier than
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I think that out of state acceptance was easier.
I don't know.
'Cause
I feel like
Tennessee was
something
all time low.
happened with FAFSA that year because I think it screwed up somehow your acceptance.
Like
I
with
don't-
the acceptance or the aid given.
both. The fact that like you were waitlisted, then all of a sudden no, you're in, and here's a bunch of money
Yeah,
makes me
that's
feel like
weird.
something
Yeah, something's
they
got to be crap.
something
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, any other little kid stories?
Oh, there's a million of them, but you'll run out of disk space on this computer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you guys have anything else? That's probably a good place to end it.
I think it's a good place to end. Congratulations on your. When he said 50th anniversary,
That's
it's not our 50th
Yeah,
anniversary.
No.
I told
It's 50
someone-
episodes.
50
for him.
episodes.
I'm so proud of you. That's a commitment.
Yep.
That's
And you
hard work, and that's
are
a
persistent.
commitment.
Thank you. Yeah, I told someone else about the 50th anniversary, and they thought that it was your 50th.
That's
And-
gross. I'd
and-
be
and
like,
then-
We
yeah,
got married when we were 2.
I'm not even
That's what I
two.
was saying. And that means when did you have us?
Well,
So-
nature's funny.
But you know what? One last thing to talk about. And I was walking Daisy thinking about this. 50 is huge. 50 is such a big milestone for me. But the thing to think about is I've had it for 2+ years. So it kind of shows you that I've been somewhat consistent, but not really consistent. And they know that. Like everyone that keeps some sort of tab on this thing knows that I'm not very consistent at times. I don't know. I want to take this far. I think you guys know that, but it kind of transitions into the one last question, which kind of goes into the last topic, the professionalism that you guys can offer just being like full-grown adults is, where do you balance finding something that you love to do, but it doesn't pay well, versus doing something that you hate to do, but it makes the money that allows you to do the things you love? Because I want to do this the rest of my life if I had the choice.
You be a podcaster?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I haven't even reached close to the potential of this thing. So it kind of ties into that. Like, what do you recommend for me, or for even yourselves?
If you're going to do something if it's more on the creative side and you're hoping that it generates money, then you have to be structured. You have to say, I am spending 20 hours a week. This is my game plan. I'm going to have to even do the hard stuff with marketing. I'm going to have to do all the things that I maybe don't want to do, but that you've got a lot of designated time and structure to this. I'll say or you can do a combination of things. When I think about as I'm starting this new business, it's you're trying to get new business. I have a day-to-day job, but I also love day trading or trading
Yeah.
the stock market of like, you can find other ways to sustain you
Yeah.
financially. There's just a lot of ways to do this, and you're in a good place to explore this. Like even with your Sherwin-Williams internship, like I love all the training in that path.
Yeah, absolutely.
If this ends up being like, let's pretend like, yes, yeah, I'm going to work on podcasts and that being the path, then you treat it like a job.
It is a job.
But
yeah.
then no, but that you treat it like a job and that it is a 40-hour a week and you have a plan and you execute and you like treat
Have
it
a
like
rhythm.
a
And I would also say never. You need to make sure that what you think is good, right? Because if it starts to become successful, other people are going to try to convince you what's good and what's going to make you more money, and they may be right in some sort of short term, but you don't ever want it to be something that you don't like or
that you're not proud of.
that you're not proud of. So, I've told you this example before, but like some of the bands I like the best are bands that like they never thought they were getting into this to make a bunch of money. They just knew they wanted to make good music.
Yeah.
And their emphasis was always on the quality of what they were doing. And it didn't, and by the way, they were spending tons of hours fine tuning their skill and all that. Like it wasn't just jacking around. Like there were definitely fights about who's going to stay in the band and who's willing to put in the time and who's willing to pack a car up and go. But it was always about the music they wanted to make. So I would never want it to be something you don't want it to be, because there's a ton of stories of people losing their way.
Yeah.
Because some producer, some money person is like, you need to do it this way.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. I think it's always been in the back of my mind, if it makes money, cool, and I want to do it for the rest of my life regardless. So I think that's what's really important to focus on. Yeah, that's episode 50.
yay.
50.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Congratulations.
having us.
Thank you guys for, wow, just whoever stuck to the end or not.
We've been going for 6 hours.
It's almost daytime.
Whoever stuck around or didn't, I'm really grateful for everyone that supported me in getting to this episode 50 and making this journey really just worth it. All the conversations I've had, all the clips I've posted, all the advice I've been given, I'm really appreciative of it. And I'm appreciative of the support that I have received through Spotify, through word to word, and through you guys viewing the videos and liking the videos, commenting, everything. I really appreciate it, and that's what's going to take us to the next level. So with that being said, that is another episode of Granted, episode 50. Rowdy 5000. Peace.